Welcome, dear viewers. For more exclusive, thrilling stories every week, join our membership. Sit back, relax, and sip your coffee. Enjoy. There's a disconnected payphone on the outside wall. It hasn't worked in 20 years. But on nights when a heavy fog rolls in off the fields, it will ring. A loud, piercing ring that cuts through the silence. The first time, I ignored it. Sal, my boss, his voice on my cell was tight. He said, "Son, you have to answer it." You don't say anything. You just listen for the breathing on the other end. You have to know if it's close to the road or if it's already at the door. My name is Danny Kowalski, and I never planned to end up in Whispering Pines, Ohio. This town doesn't exist on most maps, just a cluster of farmhouses and a single gas station garage where State Route 666 cuts through endless cornfields. Population 847, according to the faded sign, though I've never seen more than a dozen people at once. 6 months ago, I was living in Columbus, working third shift at a call center, drowning in student debt from a degree that got me nowhere. Then my grandmother passed, left me her old Buick and a letter saying I reminded her of my grandfather, stubborn as a mule, but with good instincts. She'd enclosed a newspaper clipping about a night receptionist position at Gentry's Auto and Towing. The ad was circled in red ink. Quiet person needed for overnight desk work. Must be comfortable alone. References required. Call Sal. I should have questioned why they needed overnight staff at a garage that closed at 6. Should have wondered why the phone number had a 666 area code that doesn't exist. But my rent was 3 months overdue, and desperation makes you ignore red flags. The drive from Columbus took 4 hours through back roads I'd never seen. GPS lost signal after Zanesville, leaving me to follow handwritten directions my grandmother had somehow included with the clipping. Turn left at the rusted mailbox. Continue past the abandoned church. When you smell sulfur, you're close. That last part made me laugh until I actually smelled it, like rotten eggs mixed with burning rubber, drifting across the highway in waves. Gentry's Auto and Towing sits at the intersection of Route 666 and what locals call Dead Man's Curve. The garage itself is unremarkable. Cinderblock walls painted white, 3 service bays, and a small office attached to the side. Behind it, a graveyard of rusted cars stretches into the darkness, fenders and bumpers creating a metal maze that shifts and groans when the wind picks up. Sal Gentry is 73, built like a scarecrow, with hands that have seen 50 years of engine grease. He hired me on the spot, handed me a folded paper with 9 handwritten rules, and told me my shift ran from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. "Simple job," he said, avoiding eye contact. "Answer phones, log tow calls, keep the coffee pot full. Most nights, you'll be bored, senseless." He paused at the door, fingers drumming against the frame. "But Danny, and this is important, when something feels wrong, trust that feeling. This place has its own way of doing things. The rules aren't suggestions. They're the difference between going home at sunrise and never going home at all." That first night, I laughed off his warning. I stopped laughing when the payphone rang. The payphone rang again. 3 sharp bursts that seemed to echo off the metal siding. I grabbed the crumpled paper from my jacket pocket and unfolded it under the desk lamp. Sal's handwriting was cramped, like he'd written it in a hurry. Night shift protocols, Gentry's Auto and Towing. Rule 1, the payphone outside will ring on foggy nights. Answer it immediately. Do not speak. Listen for breathing patterns. Heavy breathing means it's at the road. Light breathing means it's already here. Rule 2. Keep the garage doors locked after 11 p.m. If someone knocks, check the security monitor first. If you can't see their feet, do not open the door. Rule 3. The coffee pot must stay full until dawn. If it runs empty, refill it immediately. They can smell when it's gone. Rule 4. Do not look directly at the cars in the back lot between midnight and 4 a.m. Movement in your peripheral vision is normal. Direct observation is not. Rule 5. If the radio plays static instead of music, switch to AM and find a talk show. The static attracts them. Rule 6. The bathroom door stays closed at all times. If you find it open, close it and wait 30 seconds before turning around. Rule 7. Emergency flashlight is under the desk. If the power goes out, use it to check the corners first. Some shadows move when they shouldn't. Rule 8. Do not answer the landline after 3 a.m. unless it rings exactly 4 times. Hang up if you hear your own voice. Rule 9. Before leaving at 6 a.m., check that all 9 rules are still written on this paper. If any are missing, do not leave the building until they return. The payphone rang a 4th time. I folded the paper, shoved it back in my pocket, and walked outside. The fog had rolled in thick while I was reading. It hung in the air like wet cotton, reducing visibility to maybe 10 feet. The payphone was an old Bell model, bolted to the cinder block wall beside the office door. Its plastic casing had yellowed with age, and the handset was connected by a metal cord that had been cut and reconnected multiple times. I lifted the receiver. Silence. Then breathing. Slow, measured, like someone trying to control their panic. The sound came through the line with an odd echo, as if the caller was in a tunnel or deep well. The breathing continued for what felt like an eternity, heavy, labored, like someone had been running through the cornfields for miles. Then the line went dead. I hung up and hurried back inside, locking the door behind me. According to Rule 1, heavy breathing meant whatever was out there was still at the road. That seemed manageable enough. The garage office was small and functional. A metal desk faced the front window, with a CB radio, landline phone, and an old computer that probably hadn't been updated since the Clinton administration. Behind me, a door led to the service bays, where Sal kept his tools and hydraulic lifts. To my right, another door marked bathroom, with a hand-lettered sign that read, "Employees only." I settled into the desk chair and poured coffee from the pot on the filing cabinet. It was strong enough to wake the dead, but it was hot and caffeinated, which was all I cared about right now. The first 2 hours passed quietly. I logged a few tow calls from the CB, a semi-jackknifed near Zanesville, someone's Honda broken down on Route 22 with a blown radiator. Standard stuff that made me feel like this was just another normal job. The radio played classic rock from a station in Columbus, and I started to relax. At 12:47 a.m., the music stopped. Static filled the speakers. Not the usual between-station white noise, but something else. A rhythmic pattern that sounded almost like breathing. In and out, repeating in slow cycles that made my skin crawl. I remembered Rule 5 and switched to AM. The static followed me across the dial until I found a talk show broadcasting from Cleveland. Some guy was ranting about government conspiracies and alien abductions. His voice was tinny through the old speakers, but it drowned out the static. That's when I noticed movement in the back lot. In my peripheral vision, something shifted between the wrecked cars. A shadow that didn't match any of the twisted metal shapes. It moved with purpose, weaving between the rusted frames like it was searching for something specific. I kept my eyes on the radio, fighting every instinct to look directly at the lot. Rule 4 had been crystal clear about that. Movement in peripheral vision was normal. Direct observation was not. The shadow passed by the window. For a moment, I caught a glimpse of something pale and elongated, moving on too many legs. It reminded me of a spider, but scaled up to the size of a person. Then it was gone, melting back into the maze of automotive corpses. My hands trembled as I refilled my coffee cup. The pot was already half empty, and I'd only poured 2 cups. The coffee smelled different now, still rich and dark, but with an underlying metallic tang that made my stomach turn. At 1:30 a.m., I checked the security monitor. The black and white screen showed the front of the garage, the empty road beyond, and the edge of the cornfield where the fog was thickest. Nothing seemed out of place, but the camera had a way of making everything look sinister. Even familiar objects took on strange shapes in the grainy footage. Then I noticed the bathroom door. It was open. I stared at it for a long moment, trying to remember if I'd seen Sal close it when he left. The darkness beyond the threshold seemed deeper than it should be, like the room extended much further than the small bathroom I'd glimpsed earlier. I walked over and pulled the door shut. The knob felt cold, even through my work gloves. Cold like metal left outside in winter. I stood there for 30 seconds, counting heartbeats instead of numbers. My pulse hammered in my ears, drowning out the radio and the distant hum of the coffee pot. When I finally turned around, the garage looked exactly the same as before, but the coffee pot was empty again. I stared at it, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The heating element glowed red hot, and the glass carafe was bone dry. I'd filled it less than an hour ago. Outside, the payphone started ringing again. This time, I didn't hesitate. I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door, one hand on the rules in my pocket. Whatever was out there, I was starting to understand that the rules weren't just suggestions. They were the only thing keeping me alive. The payphone rang 5 times before I reached it. My breath formed small clouds in the cold air as I lifted the receiver. This time, the breathing was different. Lighter. Faster. Like someone trying to stay quiet while running. According to Rule 1, light breathing meant it was already here. I hung up and spun around, scanning the fog-shrouded parking area. The mist had grown thicker, reducing the overhead security light to a weak yellow glow. Beyond the immediate circle of visibility, everything disappeared into gray nothing. Something moved near the propane tanks. I caught it in the corner of my eye, a shape that didn't belong. Too tall to be a person, too fluid to be machinery. It seemed to flow rather than walk, like water finding its way downhill. I backed toward the office door, fumbling for my keys. The metal was slippery in my sweaty palms, and I dropped them twice before managing to get the door open. Inside, I grabbed the landline and dialed Sal's number. It rang once, then went to voicemail. "Sal, it's Danny. The payphone rang twice tonight, light breathing the second time. There's something outside. Call me back." I hung up and checked the security monitor. The screen showed static snow for 3 seconds, then cleared to reveal the parking area. Empty. Just fog and the occasional flutter of trash caught in the wind. But the propane tanks were gone. I rubbed my eyes and looked again. The tanks were back, exactly where they'd always been. 3 blue cylinders chained to a metal post, 20 feet from the office door. The radio crackled. The Cleveland talk show had been replaced by static again, but this time I could hear something underneath the white noise. Whispering. Multiple voices speaking in a language that sounded like wind through corn stalks. I switched stations until I found a country music program broadcasting from Youngstown. The whispering stopped, but I could still feel it somehow, like insects crawling under my skin. The coffee pot was empty again. I'd filled it less than an hour ago. Now it sat bone dry, the heating element glowing red like an angry eye. I unplugged it and waited for it to cool before adding water and fresh grounds. My hands shook as I measured the coffee, spilling dark granules across the counter. At 2:15 a.m., someone knocked on the front door. 3 careful raps like a polite visitor. I froze, coffee scoop halfway to the pot. The security monitor showed a figure standing just outside the circle of light. Human-shaped but wrong somehow. The proportions were off, arms too long, head tilted at an awkward angle, and I couldn't see its feet. Rule 2 was clear about that. No feet meant no opening the door. The knocking came again, more insistent this time. The figure raised what might have been a hand and waved. In the grainy black and white footage, it looked like a greeting, or maybe a warning. I stayed perfectly still, barely breathing. After 5 minutes, the figure moved away from the door. On the monitor, I watched it glide across the parking area and disappear into the fog. The landline rang. I checked the clock, 2:23 a.m., still an hour before the 3 a.m. cutoff. I answered on the second ring. Gentry's Auto and Towing. Danny? The voice was familiar, but I couldn't place it immediately. Danny, you need to get out of there. Right now. Who is this? It's me. It's you. You need to leave the building. Go to your car and drive away. Don't look back. The voice was mine. Same accent, same inflection, even the same slight rasp from years of smoking in college, like listening to a recording of myself. I hung up and unplugged the phone. My reflection in the office window looked pale and shaken. Behind me, the coffee pot gurgled as the fresh batch finished brewing. The smell filled the small space, rich, dark, reassuring. At 2:45 a.m., I heard footsteps on the roof. Slow, measured steps moving from the back of the building toward the front. The metal roofing creaked and popped under the weight. I grabbed the emergency flashlight from under the desk and tested it. The beam was strong and white, cutting through the office's sickly fluorescent haze. The footsteps stopped directly overhead. I held my breath and listened. Something was up there, just above the drop ceiling tiles. I could hear it breathing, deep, ragged inhalations that made the tiles flex slightly downward. Then it spoke. Danny. The voice drifted down through the ceiling, muffled but clear. Danny, I know you're listening. I know you can hear me. It was my voice again, but slower somehow. Each word stretched out like taffy. I need you to open the door, Danny. I need you to let me in. I'm cold out here. I'm scared. I pressed my back against the wall, flashlight beam trained on the ceiling. One of the tiles had a water stain that looked like a face. As I watched, it seemed to shift and change, features flowing like spilled paint. Danny, please, it's me. It's really me. I got locked out somehow. I don't know how, but I'm outside and you're inside, and this isn't right. This isn't how it's supposed to be. The footsteps resumed, moving toward the back of the building. I followed the sound, flashlight beam dancing across the ceiling tiles. In the service bay area, I could see them sagging under the weight of whatever was up there. I remember being inside. The voice continued. I remember the coffee pot and the radio and the rules. But now I'm out here. And it's so cold, Danny. So very cold. The footsteps stopped again, this time over the bathroom. I looked at the door. It was closed, just as I'd left it. But there was light coming from underneath, a pale, sickly glow that pulsed like a heartbeat. "I think I'm dying, Danny. I think something's wrong with me. I need to get inside. I need to get warm." The glow under the bathroom door grew brighter. I could smell something now, not the sulfur from earlier, but something organic, like roadkill left in the sun for days. "Just open the door, Danny." Any door. The front door, the bay doors, even the bathroom door. "Just let me in, and everything will be okay." The voice was getting closer, as if the thing on the roof was lowering itself down the walls. I could hear scraping sounds now, claws or fingernails dragging across metal siding. I checked the rules again. Nothing about voices on the roof. Nothing about things pretending to be me. But Rule 6 mentioned a bathroom door. It should stay closed at all times. If I found it open, I was supposed to close it and wait 30 seconds before turning around. The light under the door was getting brighter. Against every instinct, I walked to the bathroom and grabbed the handle. It was hot, like touching a stove burner. I yanked my hand back, then used my jacket sleeve to turn the knob. The door was already closed, but I pushed it tighter against the frame anyway. The light disappeared. I stood there, heart pounding, waiting for the 30 seconds to pass. Each heartbeat felt like an eternity. The voice on the roof laughed, a sound like breaking glass mixed with static. "Smart boy, Danny. You're learning." Something heavy hit the front door. Then again. And again. I forced myself to wait, counting my pulse instead of seconds. The pounding grew more violent, but I didn't turn around until I was sure the time had passed. The office was empty, but the front door stood wide open. Cold air and fog poured in, carrying the smell of wet earth and decay. In the distance, I could hear the payphone ringing again. And something else. Footsteps in the gravel, getting closer. The footsteps in the gravel grew closer. Each crunch sounded deliberate, like someone testing their weight with each step. I grabbed the flashlight and approached the open doorway, keeping well back from the threshold. The fog had thickened into something almost solid. I could barely see the edge of the parking area, but I could hear movement out there. Not just footsteps now, but something else. A wet, sliding sound, like someone dragging a tarp across concrete. I reached for the door handle, but something stopped me. The metal felt wrong under my fingers, too warm and slightly sticky. When I pulled my hand back, my palm was coated with a thin, clear substance that smelled like copper pennies. The footsteps stopped just outside the door. "Danny." The voice was mine, but distorted somehow, like someone had recorded me speaking and played it back through a broken speaker. "Danny, I can see you in there. Why won't you let me in?" I backed away from the door, flashlight beam trained on the entrance. The fog swirled in the doorway, but I couldn't see anything solid, just gray mist and the occasional glimpse of something pale moving within it. "I know you're scared," the voice continued. "I'm scared too. Something happened to me out here. Something changed me. But I'm still me, Danny. I'm still you." The sliding sound grew louder. Whatever was making it was circling the building now, dragging itself along the exterior walls. I could hear it scraping against the metal siding, leaving what sounded like deep gouges in the corrugated surface. I slammed the door shut and turned the deadbolt, but the lock felt loose in my hands. The metal was soft, almost pliable, like it was made of clay instead of steel. The CB radio crackled to life. "Unit 47 to dispatch. We've got a situation on Route 666. Multiple vehicles abandoned on the roadway. No sign of the drivers." I grabbed the handset. "This is Gentry's auto. What's your location?" "About 2 miles east of your position. These cars, they're still running. Doors open, headlights on, but nobody inside. Some of them have blood on the seats. How much blood? Enough to know someone's hurt, maybe hurt bad. We're requesting backup and medical. The transmission cut to static. I tried to raise them again, but got no response. At 3:17 a.m., the landline rang. 4 times. Exactly 4 times. I picked up the receiver, remembering Rule 8. After 3 a.m., I could only answer if it rang exactly 4 times. Gentry's Auto and Towing. Danny? The voice was different this time, older, tired. Danny, this is Sal. Are you okay, son? Sal, where are you? There's something outside. It's been trying to get in. I'm at home, but I felt it too. The disturbance. It's been building for days. Danny, I need you to listen carefully. The rules I gave you, they're not complete. There's more you need to know. What do you mean? The things that hunt Route 666, they're not just animals. They're something else. Something that learned to copy us. They've been here longer than the road, longer than the town. The garage sits on one of their crossing points. I heard scratching at the windows. Long, deliberate strokes that left white marks on the glass. Sal, it's here. It's trying to get in. Listen to me. Rule 10. If it speaks with your voice, it's testing you. Don't respond. Don't acknowledge it. The moment you engage, it learns more about you. There's no Rule 10 on the paper. Check again. I pulled out the crumpled sheet with shaking hands. At the bottom, in fresh ink that looked wet, was written, Rule 10. If it speaks with your voice, it's testing you. Silence is your shield. Words are its weapon. How did... The rules write themselves as needed, Danny. The paper is connected to the crossing point. It knows what you need to survive. The scratching stopped. Outside, I could hear my own voice singing softly. A song I'd hummed earlier, Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. Every word was perfect, every note exactly as I would have sung it. So, what are these things? What do they want? They want to be us. They want to walk in our skin, live in our world. But they can't just take it. They have to be invited. They have to be accepted. The singing grew louder. It was coming from multiple directions now, as if several versions of me were circling the building. How do I stop them? You don't stop them, Danny. You survive them. The rules are your armor. Follow them exactly, and you'll see dawn. What happens at dawn? They retreat. They have to. Something about the light hurts them, binds them back to whatever place they came from. But they always come back. Every foggy night, they come back. The line went dead. I tried calling back, but the phone just rang and rang. Outside, the singing had changed to whistling. The same tune, but somehow more menacing when reduced to just breath and pursed lips. The coffee pot was empty again. This time, I could see steam rising from the heating element, as if the coffee had been boiled away in seconds. I refilled it, but my hands were shaking so badly that I spilled grounds all over the counter. At 3:45 a.m., the bathroom door was open again. This time, the light coming from underneath was brighter. Not the pale glow from before, but something harsh and white, like a photographer's flash going off repeatedly. I approached the door, flashlight in hand. The handle was cold now, cold enough that it burned my fingers through my work gloves. I pushed it shut and waited. But this time, the 30 seconds felt like 30 minutes. When I turned around, I wasn't alone. Something stood in the corner of the office, just outside the flashlight beam. It was tall, taller than any person should be, with arms that hung down to its knees. Its head was tilted at an angle that would have broken a human neck. "Hello, Danny," it said in my voice. "I've been waiting for you to notice me." I didn't respond. Rule 10 was clear about that. "I know you can see me," it continued. "I know you want to talk to me. I have so many questions about being you, about being human." It took a step forward, and I could see it more clearly. It was wearing my face, but the features were wrong. The eyes were too large, the mouth too wide. It was like looking at a photograph of myself that had been stretched and distorted. "I've been watching you all night," it said, "learning your habits, your fears, your weaknesses. Did you know you bite your nails when you're nervous? Did you know you have a scar on your left knee from when you were 7? I did have that scar. From falling off my bike in front of my childhood home in Akron. I know everything about you now, Danny. Your memories, your thoughts, your dreams. I know about Sarah, the girl you loved in college. I know about your father, how he died when you were 15. I know about the guilt you carry, the mistakes you've made." It was telling the truth. Every detail was accurate. "But there's one thing I don't know," it continued, taking another step closer. "I don't know what it feels like to be you. I don't know what it's like to have your heartbeat, your breath, your blood flowing through human veins." The creature reached out with one impossibly long arm, fingers extended toward my face. "Let me touch you, Danny. Let me feel what it's like to be human. Just for a moment." I backed away, keeping the flashlight beam between us. The creature's flesh seemed to ripple and shift in the light, like water disturbed by wind. "You can't run from me forever," it said. "I know this place better than you do. I know every shadow, every corner, every hiding place. And I know you're tired, Danny. So very tired." It was right. Exhaustion was creeping in, making my thoughts sluggish and my reactions slow. The constant adrenaline was wearing me down. "Just close your eyes for a moment," the creature whispered. "Just rest. I'll keep watch. I'll keep you safe." I gripped the flashlight tighter, using the pain in my knuckles to stay alert. The creature was still talking, still using my voice to try to lure me into compliance. But I noticed something else now. The rules paper in my pocket was getting warm. I pulled it out and saw new text appearing. Rule 11. They hunger for what they cannot have. Your humanity is both your weakness and your strength. Remember who you are. The creature noticed the paper and hissed, a sound like steam escaping from a broken pipe. You can't hide behind those rules forever, Danny. Eventually, you'll have to choose. Feed me, or become me. Outside, the payphone started ringing again, and this time, I could hear multiple phones ringing throughout the building. Phones that shouldn't exist, phones that had never been installed. The creature smiled with my face, and its teeth were black as coal. The phones kept ringing. In the walls, under the floor, inside the ceiling. Phantom sounds that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Each ring was slightly different, like a chorus of telephone ghosts, all calling at once. The creature wearing my face tilted its head, listening to the cacophony. They're calling for you, Danny. All of them. Every person who ever drove down Route 666 and didn't make it home. They want to talk to you. They want to tell you their stories. I kept my flashlight trained on the creature, but it was becoming harder to distinguish it from the shadows. Its edges seemed to blur and shift, as if it was made of smoke rather than flesh. Mrs. Patterson from Youngstown, it continued, gesturing toward one of the phantom rings. She broke down here 3 years ago, waited for help that never came. Now she calls every night, hoping someone will finally answer. The creature moved closer, and I could smell something rotten on its breath. like meat left in a car trunk during summer. Little Tommy Chen from Columbus, 8 years old. His parents thought they were taking a shortcut home from his grandmother's house. They found his sneakers by the side of the road, but nothing else. Another ring joined the chorus, higher pitched than the others. And Sarah Martinez from Toledo. She was driving to see her boyfriend at Ohio State. Radio died first, then her cell phone. She tried to walk to the nearest town, but the fog was so thick that night. So very thick. I recognized that last name. Not from personal experience, but from missing person reports I'd seen on the local news. Sarah Martinez had disappeared 6 months ago. Police found her car abandoned on Route 666, but no other trace of her. "How do you know about her?" I asked, immediately regretting the words as soon as they left my mouth. The creature's smile widened, stretching its face into an expression that was both mine and utterly alien. "Because I am her, Danny. I am all of them. Every soul that crossed this threshold. Every person who walked into the fog and never came back. I wear their faces. I speak with their voices. I carry their memories." It raised one elongated arm, and I could see the skin rippling. Faces appeared and disappeared along its surface. Men, women, children, all with expressions of terror and confusion. "But wearing their faces isn't enough," it said. "I need to be them, really be them. And to do that, I need someone to invite me in. Someone to accept me as real." The ringing stopped all at once, leaving a silence that felt heavy and oppressive. "You're the first person to last this long, Danny. The first to follow the rules so carefully. Most people break by now. They open the door. They answer the wrong phone. They look directly at things they shouldn't see." I checked the rules paper again. New text was appearing, Rule 12. It feeds on acknowledgement. Every word you speak gives it power. Every response makes it more real. Too late. I've already spoken to it. "That's right," the creature said, seeming to read my thoughts. "You've fed me, Danny. Just a little taste, but enough to make me stronger. Enough to make me more like you." As I watched, its features sharpened. The too wide mouth narrowed to match mine exactly. The oversized eyes adjusted to the right proportions. Within minutes, it looked exactly like me, down to the small scar on my chin from a childhood accident. "Better?" it asked, and now its voice was perfect too. If I closed my eyes, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The coffee pot was empty again, but this time I could see the liquid evaporating in real time. Steam rose from the heating element in thick white clouds that seemed to form shapes. Reaching hands, screaming mouths, twisted faces. "The coffee feeds us too," the creature explained. "Every drop that disappears is another soul joining our collective. Another voice in the chorus." I looked around the office, really looked, and saw them everywhere. Translucent figures standing in the corners, sitting at the desk, pressed against the windows. Dozens of people, all watching me with empty eyes. "They're waiting for you to join them, Danny. It's not so bad, really. You stop being afraid. You stop being alone. You become part of something bigger." The bathroom door was open again, and this time the light spilling out was different. Instead of the harsh white glow, it was warm and golden, like sunlight streaming through a window. "Your grandmother is in there," the creature said softly. "She's been waiting for you. She has things to tell you, important things about your family, about your future." I could hear her voice now, faint but unmistakable. "Danny? Danny, is that you? Come here, sweetheart. Grandma needs to talk to you." My feet started moving toward the bathroom before I caught myself. The creature laughed, a sound like wind chimes made of bones. She's not really dead, you know. None of them are. They're just somewhere else, somewhere between here and there. The bathroom is a doorway, Danny. A bridge between worlds. The rules paper was getting hot in my pocket. I pulled it out and saw more text appearing. Rule 13. They will use your love against you. The voices of the lost are honey-sweet poison. Your grief is their gateway. Clever paper, the creature said. Always one step ahead. But it can't protect you from everything, Danny. It can't protect you from yourself. The grandfather clock in the corner, a clock that hadn't been there before, began to chime. 4 times. 4 a.m. 2 hours until dawn, the creature observed. 2 hours until I have to retreat. But that's plenty of time for you to make a choice. It gestured toward the bathroom, where my grandmother's voice was still calling. Door number 1. Join her. Join all of them. Step through the doorway and reunite with everyone you've ever lost. No more loneliness. No more pain. No more wondering what comes after death. Then it pointed toward the front door. Door number 2. Try to run. Try to escape. But the fog is thick out there, Danny. So easy to get lost. So easy to wander in circles until you collapse from exhaustion. And when you do, I'll be waiting. The creature leaned against the desk, a perfect mirror of my own posture. Or door number 3, stay here, follow your precious rules, drink your coffee, answer your phones, pretend this is just another night at just another job. But every night will be like this, Danny. Every single night we'll be back, and eventually your will is going to break. I looked at the rules paper again. The text was changing, words rearranging themselves. Rule 14. The choice is always yours. Free will is the only thing they cannot take. But every choice has consequences. Smart paper, the creature repeated. But it's wrong about one thing. I don't need to take your free will, Danny. I just need to make you want to give it up. The bathroom door swung wider, and I could see through it now. Not into a small restroom, but into a vast space filled with golden light. People were walking around in there. My grandmother, my father, classmates from high school who died in car accidents, relatives I'd never met but somehow recognized. They were all smiling, all happy, all waiting for me. No more rules, Danny. No more fear. No more sitting alone in the dark, wondering if you matter to anyone. The creature extended its hand, my hand, toward me. Just take my hand, and it all ends. The loneliness, the uncertainty, the constant struggle to survive. I promise you, it's easier on the other side. Outside, the payphone began ringing again, and this time, I knew exactly who was calling. The payphone kept ringing, each tone cutting through the office like a knife. I knew I had to answer it. Rule 1 was clear about that, but every fiber of my being screamed against going back outside. The creature wearing my face watched me with amusement. You know who it is, don't you? It said. You know that voice. You've been waiting 3 years to hear it again. I did know. Even before I stood up, even before I walked toward the door, I knew exactly who was calling. Lisa, I whispered. The creature's smile widened. Your little sister. Sweet Lisa. She was driving home from her job at the diner in Marietta. Remember? It was raining that night. She called you, said she was taking Route 666 as a shortcut. I remembered. Lisa had been working double shifts to save money for nursing school. She'd called me around 2 a.m., voice tired but cheerful, telling me she'd found a back road that would cut 20 minutes off her drive. You told her to be careful, the creature continued. You told her to call when she got home. But she never did she? The payphone stopped ringing for a moment, then started again. More insistent now. She's been trying to reach you for 3 years, Danny. Every night she calls. Every night she waits for her big brother to answer. I walked to the door, my legs moving without conscious thought. The creature followed, staying just outside the flashlight beam. She's cold out there, Danny. So very cold. The fog never lifts for her. The road never ends. She's been driving in circles for 3 years, looking for home. I opened the door and stepped into the fog. It was thicker than before, like walking through wet concrete. The payphone was barely visible, just a dark shape against the cinder block wall. I lifted the receiver. Danny? The voice was exactly as I remembered it. Young, scared, but trying to be brave. Danny, is that you? I've been trying to call you for so long. Lisa? My voice cracked like a teenager's. Oh God, Danny. I'm so scared. I can't find my way home. The road keeps changing. Every time I think I know where I am, everything shifts. Behind me, the creature laughed softly. She's been waiting for you to find her, Downey. Waiting for you to guide her home. Where are you, Lisa? I asked into the phone. I'm in my car. I'm on Route 666, but it's not the same road anymore. There are things in the fog, Danny. Things that look like people but aren't. They keep trying to get me to pull over, to get out of the car. I could hear her breathing, rapid and panicked. In the background, the sound of windshield wipers and rain. I'm running out of gas, she continued. The needle's been on empty for what feels like hours, but the car keeps running. It's like it doesn't want me to stop. Lisa, listen to me. You need to. I can see lights up ahead, she interrupted. It looks like a gas station. Maybe it's yours? Maybe you can help me? I looked across the parking lot. Through the fog, I could see headlights approaching. A small car, moving slowly, its hazard lights flashing. Danny, I can see you. Lisa's voice was excited now. You're standing by the phone. You're waiting for me. The car pulled into the parking lot, and I could see the driver through the windshield, a young woman with long, dark hair, wearing a diner uniform. She looked exactly like Lisa had 3 years ago. It's not her, I said, but my voice was weak, uncertain. Of course it's her, the creature said, now standing beside me. She's come home, Danny. She's finally come home. The car stopped in front of the garage, and the driver got out. She was pale, her skin almost translucent, but her smile was warm and familiar. Danny, she called, walking toward me. I knew you'd wait for me. I knew you'd help me find my way home. I wanted to run to her, to hug her, to tell her how sorry I was for not being there when she needed me. But something held me back. A memory of Sal's words. They want to be invited. They want to be accepted. You're not Lisa, I said, backing toward the office door. The thing that looked like my sister tilted its head, confused. Of course I'm Lisa. I'm your little sister. Don't you recognize me? Lisa died 3 years ago, I said, the words like glass in my throat. Her car was found in a ravine off Route 666. She was already gone by the time the paramedics arrived. The creature's perfect imitation of Lisa's face flickered for just a moment, revealing something else underneath. Something with too many teeth and eyes like black holes. But I'm here now, it said, the voice still Lisa's but with an edge of desperation. I'm here and I need you. I need my big brother to take care of me. I fumbled for the office door handle, but my hands were shaking too badly to grip it properly. The creature wearing Lisa's face followed me, reaching out with arms that seemed to stretch like rubber. Please, Danny. Please don't leave me alone again. I've been so scared, so cold. I just want to come inside. I just want to be with you. The genuine pain in its voice almost broke me. This thing, whatever it was, had captured every nuance of Lisa's personality. The way she used to sound when she was little and afraid of thunderstorms. The way she'd call for me when she had nightmares. I can't, I said, finally getting the door open. I can't let you in. Why not? Now the voice was angry, hurt. I'm your sister. I'm family. Family is supposed to take care of each other. I slammed the door and locked it, but I could still hear her through the metal. Crying now, the heartbroken sobs of a little girl who'd been abandoned by the one person she trusted most. Danny, please. I don't understand why you won't help me. I don't understand why you're being so cruel. The creature inside the office, the one that looked like me, was laughing again. She's good, isn't she? Perfect recreation. Every mannerism, every speech pattern, every emotional trigger. We've had 3 years to study her, to learn her, to become her. Outside, the Lisa thing was pounding on the door now, her fists making wet, meaty sounds against the metal. Let me in, she screamed. Let me in, you bastard. I'm your sister. I'm your responsibility. The words cut deep because they were true. I had been responsible for her. I should have told her not to take that shortcut. Should have insisted she take the main roads. Should have driven out to meet her myself. The guilt is delicious, isn't it? The creature said. The knowledge that you failed her. That if you'd been a better brother, she'd still be alive. The pounding stopped. Outside, I could hear Lisa's voice again, but quieter now. Defeated. I forgive you, Danny. I know you didn't mean for this to happen. I know you loved me, but I'm so tired of being alone. I'm so tired of driving in circles, never finding home. The creature moved closer, and I could feel its breath on my neck. She'll keep calling, you know, every night for the rest of your life. And every night, you'll have to choose between saving yourself and saving her. How long do you think you can keep saying no? I looked at the clock. 4:47 a.m. Less than 2 hours until dawn. I just need to make it until sunrise, I said, more to myself than to the creature. Sunrise doesn't end this, Danny. It just postpones it. We'll be back tomorrow night, and the night after that, and the night after that. And every time, Lisa will be a little more desperate, a little more convincing. The creature leaned against the desk, casual and confident. You know what the beautiful thing is? Even if you survive tonight, even if you make it to dawn, you'll never be able to leave this place, because leaving means abandoning her, and you already did that once. Outside, Lisa started singing. A lullaby our mother used to sing to us when we were children. Her voice was soft and sweet, exactly as I remembered it. Rock-a-bye, baby, in the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. The creature joined in, harmonizing with perfect pitch. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, and down will come baby, cradle, and all. The coffee pot was empty again, but this time I didn't bother refilling it. What was the point? They would just drain it again. She's not really dead, you know, the creature said conversationally. None of them are. Death is just another kind of fog, Danny. Another kind of getting lost. But they can find their way back if someone helps them. I wanted to believe it. God, how I wanted to believe it. All you have to do is open the door. The singing stopped. Outside, everything was quiet except for the sound of my own heartbeat. Then Lisa spoke again, her voice right against the door. I'm fading, Danny. I can feel myself disappearing. If you don't help me soon, I'll be gone forever. Really gone this time. I stood up, my hand reaching for the door handle. That's it, the creature whispered. That's right. Save your sister. Be the hero you never got to be. My fingers touched the metal, and I felt the lock begin to turn. Outside, the first birds of dawn began to sing. The bird song grew louder, and I could see the first pale threads of light creeping across the horizon. Dawn was breaking, but my hand was still on the door handle, still turning the lock. Danny, please. Lisa's voice was getting fainter. I can feel the light coming. It burns me, Danny. It's going to send me back to the dark places. The creature inside the office hissed like a cat. Hurry, Danny. Once the sun rises, she'll be gone. Forever this time. I turned the lock completely and started to pull the door open. Just a crack, but enough to let the fog seep in. It felt cold against my face, but underneath the chill was something else. A warmth that reminded me of summer afternoons when Lisa and I were kids, playing in the backyard sprinkler. That's it, the creature whispered. Just a little more. But as the door opened wider, the light from the rising sun hit the fog, and I saw something that made my blood freeze. The Lisa thing outside wasn't alone. There were dozens of them. Hundreds. All standing in the parking lot. All wearing familiar faces. I saw my father, who died of cancer when I was 15. My high school friend Mike, who'd wrapped his motorcycle around a tree. My neighbor Mrs. Chen, who'd had a heart attack while gardening. They were all there, all waiting, all reaching toward the door with expressions of desperate hunger. Let us in, Danny, they said in unison, their voices creating a chorus of the dead. Let us come home. The creature behind me was laughing now, a sound like breaking glass mixed with static electricity. Do you see now? Do you understand what you've stumbled into? This isn't just about one garage, one night, one job. This is about all of them. Everyone who ever died alone. Everyone who ever got lost. Everyone who ever needed help, but never came. I slammed the door shut and locked it, but I could still hear them outside. Hundreds of voices, all calling my name, all begging to be saved. You can't save them all, Danny, the creature said, but you can join them. You can be part of something bigger than yourself. The sunlight was streaming through the windows now, and I could see the creature more clearly. It was flickering, its form becoming less solid as the light touched it. But it wasn't disappearing. It was changing, becoming something else. The light doesn't destroy us, it explained, seeming to read my thoughts. It just changes our nature, makes us more honest about what we really are. As I watched, the creature's skin began to peel away like old paint. Underneath was something that looked like charred wood, twisted and burned. Its eyes were holes that went down into darkness, and when it spoke, I could see flames dancing in its throat. We are the burned ones, it said, the ones who got too close to the light and were consumed by it. We are what happens when souls try to cross over, but get stuck halfway. The voices outside were getting louder, more desperate. They were pounding on the walls now, on the windows, on the roof. The entire building shook with their fury. Let us in!" they screamed. "Let us in! Let us in!" I looked at the rules paper one more time. The text was fading as the sunlight hit it, but I could still make out the words. Rule 14. The choice is always yours. Free will is the only thing they cannot take. "Free will?" I said aloud. The creature's laugh was like wind through a graveyard. "Free will is an illusion, Danny. Every choice is influenced by something. Fear, love, guilt, hope. We don't control your will. We just guide it." The pounding stopped suddenly, and the silence was somehow worse than the noise. "They're waiting," the creature said. "All of them. Your sister, your father, everyone you've ever loved and lost. They're waiting for you to make the choice that will bring them home." I walked to the window and looked out. The fog was dissipating in the morning light, but I could still see them. Translucent figures standing in the parking lot, in the cornfields, along the road. Thousands of them, stretching as far as I could see. "This is what Route 666 really is," the creature explained. "It's not just a road, it's a collection point, a place where the lost gather. Some got lost driving, some got lost in life, some got lost in death, but they all end up here, eventually." The sunlight was getting stronger, and I could feel its warmth on my face. But instead of comfort, it brought a terrible understanding. "The garage isn't just a job, is it?" I said. "No," the creature agreed. "It's a test. Everyone who works here faces the same choice. Join them, or spend eternity keeping them at bay." I thought about Sal, about how tired he'd looked, how his eyes had that hollow quality of someone who'd seen too much. "How long has Sal been doing this?" 53 years, the creature said. "He was young when he started, full of hope and determination. But 53 years of saying no to the voices of the dead. It takes its toll." The pounding started again, but weaker now. The sunlight was having an effect, forcing the lost souls back into whatever dimension they came from. "They'll be weaker during the day," the creature continued, "but they'll never completely go away. Every sunset, they'll return. Every foggy night, they'll test you. And every time, the choice will be a little harder to make." I looked at the clock. 5:23 a.m. Less than an hour until my shift ended. What happens if I choose not to come back tomorrow night? The creature's form was becoming more translucent as the light grew stronger, but its voice was still clear. "Then someone else will have to take your place. Someone else will have to face the choice. Maybe it'll be a young college student, desperate for money. Maybe it'll be a single mother trying to make ends meet. Maybe it'll be someone who doesn't have your strength, your stubbornness, your ability to say no." The weight of that responsibility settled on my shoulders like a lead blanket. "You're trapped," I said. "We're all trapped, Danny. The dead are trapped by their inability to move on. The living are trapped by their guilt and responsibility. And the guardians, people like you and Sal, are trapped by their compassion." The creature was almost completely transparent now, but I could still see its eyes, still burning with internal fire. "But here's the thing about traps, Danny. Sometimes they're not meant to keep you prisoner. Sometimes they're meant to keep something else from getting free." Outside, the voices were fading as the sun climbed higher. But I could still hear them, would always hear them, calling my name in the darkness. "What are you really?" I asked. The creature's laugh was like wind through empty spaces. "We are the consequence of unfinished business, Danny. We are what happens when love and loss become so intertwined that they can't be separated. We are the price of caring too much about people who are already gone. The phone rang, the landline, not the payphone. I checked the clock, 5:47 a.m., still before 6 a.m., so it was safe to answer. Gentry's Auto and Towing. Danny? It was Sal's voice, tired but real. How are you holding up, son? I'm still here, I said. That's good. That's real good. Dawn's broken, so they'll be retreating now. You made it through your first night. Sal, how long have you been doing this? A long pause. Long enough to know that someone has to. Long enough to know that it's not as simple as just walking away. What happens now? Now you go home. You sleep. You try to forget what you've seen. And tonight, you decide whether you're coming back. The creature was almost gone now, just a whisper in the corner of my vision. What if I don't come back? Then I'll have to find someone else. Someone who might not be as strong as you. Someone who might not make it through the first night. Someone who might open that door. I thought about Lisa. About all the lost souls waiting in the fog. About the choice between saving myself and protecting others from having to make the same choice. I'll be back, I said. I figured you would, Sal said, and I could hear the sadness in his voice. Welcome to the family, Danny. Welcome to the guardians of Route 666. The line went dead, and I was alone in the garage. The creature was gone. The voices were silent, and the morning light was streaming through the windows. But I knew it was only temporary. They would be back when the sun set, and I would be waiting for them. Because someone had to. Because the alternative was letting them loose in a world that had no idea what was coming. I poured myself one last cup of coffee and watched the sunrise paint the sky in shades of gold and pink. It was beautiful. It was also my last peaceful sunrise for a very long time. 3 months later, I could predict the patterns. Foggy nights brought the payphone calls. New moon nights brought the whispers in the walls. Nights when the temperature dropped below freezing brought the most desperate ones. Those who died of exposure, searching for warmth they'd never find again. I'd learned to read the signs like a farmer reads weather. The way the radio static shifted frequencies before they arrived. How the coffee evaporated faster when they were hungry. The temperature drop that preceded each manifestation. Tonight was different, though. Tonight, the fog rolled in before sunset, thick and early. The payphone had been ringing since 7 p.m., 3 hours before my shift officially started. I'd answered it 6 times already, each call bringing a different voice, a different story of loss and longing. Sal met me at the garage entrance, his weathered face more lined than I remembered. "Big night coming," he said, handing me a thermos of coffee. "Storm front moving in from the west. That always stirs them up." I'd asked him once why he didn't just quit, why he didn't let someone else take over completely. He'd looked at me with those hollow eyes and said, "Because I've seen what happens when the guardian breaks. I've seen what they become when they're set free." "How many tonight?" I asked. "More than usual. Weather service says we might get tornadoes. When the atmosphere gets unstable, so do they." I nodded and checked my watch. 9:47 p.m., 13 minutes until my shift started, but I could already see shapes moving in the fog. They were eager tonight, pressing against the boundaries that kept them confined to the hours between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. "Danny," Sal said as I reached for the door, "you've been doing good work, better than most, but I need to tell you something." I turned back to him. "The rules paper. It's not just a list. It's a contract. Every night you follow those rules, every night you keep them at bay, You're binding yourself deeper to this place." "What do you mean?" "I mean that after a certain point, you won't be able to leave. Not because you're trapped, but because leaving would mean abandoning your post. And you'll find that you can't do that anymore. Won't be able to do that anymore." I thought about the nights I'd tried to call in sick, only to find myself driving to the garage anyway. The way my apartment felt empty and wrong during the day, like I was just marking time until I could return to my real life. How long do I have? Hard to say. For me, it was about 6 months. For the guy before me, it was 2 years. Depends on how much you care about keeping them contained. The payphone started ringing again, and I felt the familiar pull, the need to answer, to listen, to stand guard. "I have to go," I said. Sal nodded. "I know you do. That's how I know you're almost there." I walked into the garage and locked the door behind me. The office looked the same as always. Metal desk, CB radio, coffee pot, bathroom door firmly closed. But I could feel the weight of eyes watching me, even though I was alone. The payphone rang 7 times before I reached it. "Hello?" The voice was young, maybe 16 or 17. "Is someone there? I can't see anything. It's so dark." I listened to the breathing, light and rapid, like someone having a panic attack. "My name is Jessica," the voice continued. "Jessica Walsh. I was driving to my friend's house in Zanesville. My car broke down about 2 miles from your garage. I started walking, but now I can't find the road. Can you help me?" I knew the name. Jessica Walsh had disappeared 2 weeks ago. Her car had been found abandoned on Route 666, but there was no sign of her. The police had called off the search after 5 days. "I'm so cold," she said. "And I think something's following me. Something that doesn't want me to find my way home." I hung up the phone and walked back inside. The creature was waiting for me, wearing my face as usual. But tonight it looked different. Older. More tired. "New arrival," it said. "Fresh meat. Still confused about what's happened to her. She's just a kid." They all are in the end. Just children who got lost in the dark and never found their way back. I sat down at the desk and opened the logbook. Over the past 3 months, I'd been keeping detailed records of every encounter, every call, every manifestation. Sal had said it might help future guardians understand what they were dealing with. "You're becoming like him," the creature observed. "Like Sal. Obsessed with documentation, with understanding, as if knowledge could somehow make this bearable. Maybe it can, or maybe it just gives you the illusion of control, makes you feel like you're accomplishing something instead of just existing." The creature walked to the window and looked out at the fog. "You want to know what I really am, Danny? What we really are? I'd wondered about that for months. Tell me. We're you, all of us. Every guardian who ever worked this job, every person who ever spent their nights keeping the lost souls at bay. When you die, and you will die, eventually, you'll join us. You'll become part of the collective that tests the next guardian." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. That's not possible. Isn't it? Think about it. Who better to test a guardian than someone who's already been through it? Who better to understand the temptations, the weaknesses, the exact words that will break someone down? The creature turned back to me, and I could see something else in its face now. Not just my features, but hints of others. The angular cheekbones of someone else. The eye color of a third person. The mouth shape of a fourth. "Sal is in here," it said. "The guardian before him. The one before that. All of us, layered together like sedimentary rock. each one adding their knowledge, their pain, their understanding of what it means to be human. Why are you telling me this? Because you're getting close to the end, Danny. Close to the point where you'll have to choose. Become one of us willingly, or break under the pressure and become one of us anyway. The payphone started ringing again, but this time I didn't move to answer it. Jessica's getting closer, the creature said. She's found the road. She's walking toward the garage right now, hoping someone will help her. She's already dead. Death is just another kind of getting lost. She doesn't know she's dead yet. Won't know until she sees her own body in the morgue, or until someone explains it to her. I could see headlights approaching through the fog. A figure walking beside them, visible only as a darker shadow against the gray. Here's what's going to happen, the creature continued. She's going to knock on the door. She's going to beg for help. She's going to sound exactly like your sister did. Exactly like every lost soul who's ever needed saving. The headlights stopped in front of the garage. The figure, Jessica, walked to the door and knocked. Hello? Her voice was muffled by the metal, but I could hear the desperation in it. Please, I know someone's in there. I can see the lights. I just need to use your phone. The creature smiled. And you're going to have to choose. Save yourself or save her. Follow the rules or break them. Be the guardian or be the savior. Jessica knocked again, harder this time. Please, I'm just a kid. I'm scared. I don't know what's happening to me. I looked at the rules paper, but the words were blowing together. The ink was running, as if the paper was getting wet. The rules are failing, the creature said. The contract is breaking down. Soon you'll have to rely on your own judgment, your own strength. And that's when most guardians break. Jessica's knocking turned to pounding. I can hear you in there. Why won't you help me? Why won't anyone help me? Because helping her means joining her, the creature said. Because saving one soul means losing your own. Because sometimes the only way to protect the many is to sacrifice the few. The pounding stopped. Outside, I could hear sobbing. She's giving up, the creature said. In a few minutes, she'll walk away. She'll disappear back into the fog, and tomorrow night, she'll be one of us. Another voice in the chorus. Another soul trying to drag someone else down. I stood up and walked to the door. That's it, the creature whispered. That's the choice. Save Jessica and damn yourself. Or save yourself and damn her. My hand touched the door handle. Choose quickly, Danny. Dawn is still hours away, and there are others coming. Others who will need saving. Others who will test your resolve. I could hear them now, in the distance. Voices calling for help. Footsteps in the gravel. Cars approaching through the fog. How many? I asked. Tonight? Dozens. Maybe hundreds. The storm is bringing them all out. All the lost souls who've been waiting for a chance to find their way home. Jessica's voice was getting fainter. Please. Somebody. Anybody. I turned the handle and opened the door. The fog rushed in like a living thing, and with it came the voices of the lost, all calling my name, all reaching for salvation. And I realized that this was the test I'd been preparing for all along. The fog swirled around me as I stepped outside, and I could see them all clearly now. Jessica stood closest to the door, her diner uniform torn and muddy, her face pale with confusion and hope. Behind her, arranged in a perfect semicircle, were the others, dozens of lost souls stretching back into the mist. Thank you, Jessica said, reaching toward me. I knew someone would help me. Her hand touched mine, and I felt something I hadn't expected. Warmth. Not the cold, hungry touch of the creature, but genuine human warmth. She was real, or as real as anything could be in this place between worlds. "I don't understand what's happening," she continued. "One minute I was walking along the road, and the next minute I was somewhere else. Somewhere dark and cold." I looked back at the garage. The creature was standing in the doorway, watching us with an expression I couldn't read. Behind it, I could see other figures, translucent shapes that might have been previous guardians, all waiting to see what I would choose. "Jessica," I said carefully, "I need you to listen to me. You're not alive anymore. You died when your car broke down. You've been dead for 2 weeks." She shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "No, that's not true. I can't be dead. I can feel my heart beating. I can feel the cold air on my skin." "That's just an echo," I said gently. "A memory of what it felt like to be alive. But you're something else now. Something caught between worlds." The other souls had moved closer, forming a tight circle around us. I could see their faces now, men, women, children, all wearing expressions of desperate hope mixed with terrible hunger. "We can go home," one of them said. "We can all go home if you just invite us in." "Into what?" I asked. "Into you," the creature said from the doorway. "Into your life, your memories, your flesh. That's what they really want, Danny. Not salvation, possession." I felt Jessica's grip tighten on my hand. "Is that true?" "I don't know," I admitted. "I don't know what's true anymore." The creature stepped forward, and I could see its true form now. Not just my face, but layers of faces beneath it. Sal's weathered features, younger faces I didn't recognize, all of them guardians who'd stood where I was standing now. "The choice is simple," it said. "Save yourself, or save them. But you can't do both." I looked at Jessica, at the fear and confusion in her eyes. She was just a kid, barely out of high school, with her whole life ahead of her. Or she had been before Route 666 claimed her. "What if there's a third option?" I said. "There isn't," the creature replied. "There never is." But I was already moving, pulling Jessica toward the garage. The other souls followed, reaching out with grasping hands, but I pushed through them. Their touch was cold, numbing, but not painful. "What are you doing?" Jessica asked. "Something stupid," I said. "Something that probably won't work." I led her to the bathroom door and pulled it open. The golden light spilled out, warm and inviting, and I could see the space beyond. Not a small restroom, but a vast field stretching to the horizon. People walked there, whole and healthy, no longer lost or confused. "Go," I said. "Find your way home." Jessica hesitated. "What about you?" "I'll be fine. I've got work to do." She stepped through the doorway, and the light consumed her. For a moment, I could see her on the other side, turning back to wave goodbye. Then the door closed, and she was gone. The other souls had stopped reaching for me. They stood in a circle, watching with expressions of wonder and hope. "That's not how it works," the creature said. "That's not how any of this works." "Maybe it is now," I said. "Maybe the rules are changing." I walked back to the desk and sat down. The coffee pot was full, the radio was playing soft music, and the rules paper was clean and white again. Outside, the fog was lifting, and I could see the first stars appearing in the clear night sky. The payphone rang once, then fell silent. I poured myself a cup of coffee, and settled in to wait for dawn. Some nights you find a way to save everyone, even in a place like Route 666.